We did have a venue booked in and they pulled the pin last minute. We know that the major parties are tanking in popularity. We've experienced incredible growth since getting our party started. It looks like we're probably the fastest growing small party in Victoria right now. Speaking to people even down Dan Andrews shopping strip, and I can tell you the man is absolutely despised even by his own constituents. People such as candidates from Freedom Party of Victoria and other like-minded parties can very well hold the balance of power in Parliament after the conclusion of this election. What we've witnessed here in Victoria over the past 3 years, I would describe as the most anti-small business government ever in our history. We've seen thousands of businesses that have gone under due to the overbearing stress of lockdowns, and we see thousands more fighting and struggling every day just to survive. We are the most taxed state in Australia. That Freedom Party of Victoria, we are 100% pro-small Australian-owned business. And I think we can all agree that small business is the absolute backbone of our communities. All right, now I'm going to tell you some of our positions and what we're proposing in order to empower small Australian-owned businesses here in the state of Victoria. Number one, Victorian businesses, and of course many of them are still struggling to survive as a result of the legislation over the past 3 years, to be granted 12 months exemption from state taxes. To call on the government to be held accountable and liable for businesses that were destroyed as a result of legislation that has gone through Parliament over the past 3 years in relation to the Public Health and Wellbeing Act. To guarantee businesses the absolute right to always keep their doors open no matter what. To reinstate medical privacy for both employers and employees, which of course means banning and removing whatever workplace mandates are still in place. Review and seek to eliminate needless bureaucracy and regulation that only serves to inhibit the growth and to interfere in the daily operations of small businesses. Success of small Australian businesses should not be determined based on restrictive government policy that keeps the little guy small. We pledge and commit to always stand by the side of small businesses, especially Australian-owned small businesses. Our Deputy Leader, Aidan McClendon, and he is the man who I believe is going to take Dan Andrews' seat. He started his working life selling hot dogs, and you know who else did? Dan Andrews. At age 17, he was recruited into the ADF and served as an infantry soldier. After more than 10 years in politics, he left the political sphere and became a teacher. The Deputy Leader of Freedom Party of Victoria and our candidate for the seat of Mulgrave, Aidan McClendon.
We were supposed to be inside with fancy finger foods, etc., but we're happy getting segregated. We're used to it. So I do want to make special mention to all the mainstream media. Thanks for coming out today. When I finished public life in 2013, I made a very, very strong pact with my wife never to get involved in politics again. But she could see what was happening the last 2 or 3 years, and she said at the end of dinner one day, she said, "You want to get back in?" And I said, "No, I don't want to. I think I have to." But I'm working in Mulgrave throughout COVID. I was actually doing the wellbeing plans in all the schools, and the amount of pain and hurt and suffering from the kids, the parents, the teachers, was something that I've never, ever witnessed in my life before. And what has happened since then, many Victorians are not with us today as a result of that. Many have left, many have passed. The amount of small businesses in Victoria that are crippled or collapsed or their heads just above water, when they get exemption of all state-based taxes, if they turn over less than $10 million, that's about an average of 17 to 19 employees. That is the target audience that actually needs a massive hand up. And the government cannot tell us that they haven't got money. The amount of money that they've thrown out the window now is over $6 billion in interest alone every year. It's not to the foreign investors that are coming in here and exploiting us. And Morgan, as he mentioned, the billionaires, there was 37, is that right? 37. 37 billionaires in 2019. Is it no surprise that there's now 137 billionaires in Australia post-2019? So COVID has delivered the government overreach, and the exploitation of our rights has now produced an extra 100 billionaires in this country. You can't tell me that this was a battle for health. This is a this is a battle of class warfare. Hands up if you've seen many shops up for lease or empty. Everywhere, right? The schools that I teach at, the lack of resources that they have, the empty classrooms with some sexually depraved poster up in these classrooms, rewiring the minds of our children. It's not on. And it's the battle for the hearts and minds, and that's in the education system. And this has been a battle for the last 30 years, and that's why we're seeing some pretty nasty stuff come to fruition, okay? Now, these sexual deviants are not welcome in our schools, they are not welcome to our children, they are not welcome in our families. But guess what? There's hope, and we're coming.
So guys, thank you so much for coming out, and let's go get them. All right.